I don't go to sleep. You move your body, disappear. I put the word air in front of it. I wanted all of you to be okay, even you, the one in the wrong, swallowing air too close, making each fake demand change places in the background of a field with other credentials. You have to get over it somehow. Sea poppy in the fringes and salt. A depressed poem. Write it for the air in summer recognition. You have to get over it somehow. The way it climbs up or it doesn't. A field in evening, the opposite of song. Even fever eventually settles. Carousel. This is called Sudden Progress. It's almost 10 years old. Two years of sunburn, distinct, but on the same surface, clouded to account for, counting out the facts and what to fix on. At first, the verbs were feeling like a belt. Down goes the prediction, forgets my name. The same thing happens and you bounce. The outside world was doing its thing, and you, anyway, were walking around, occasionally neutral, occasionally scared. I had to quit the ballet for my own good. My feet, my figure. A womb with a broken ankle in the middle, suspended and disgraceful. It stopped hurting so much. It joined the other points in a different run from the side of the day to its ending. My role in the sexual economy is negligible, I said, as the parts came together embarrassed. It was the same airport, so-so, waving face down in the coast, then over to a district of floating. Part of my family wasn't born here. Part of my family grew up here. I could have said negotiable, like a boat or an obstacle, but I heard her talk of sailing and turned down. I turned later to the recent shape of friends. Say hi to the animals for me. Give them part of my love at least. Close the window when you go to try to sleep. And fortune, last of all, goes wildly along, flecked with disbelief. A flake of pleasure strengthened against the profit ceased. There are bitter things you can put in your mouth, sharp things, organizational choices, but I will never be one of them. At this, the ground clears his throat, corrects your estimation. Did you encounter any difficulties? Did you leave everything as you found it? Yes and no are adequate children holding hands. Their heads are too warm to stay here. Oh, but gossip was our sometimes glue. Oh, but gossip screws things up, upsets our sense of balance. But maybe we were standing on one leg, on a chair, hand to ear, leaning out to catch the breeze of brilliant news. You can choose to be astute in stepping down. Awkward circle, awkward silence, how you soften and retract, how you often understand the catches much too late, and in the wrong voice, in the wrong climate, anything you find is worth keeping. I love the loss of quality. I love the screens. Ribbons trail me in my sleep and tie my context's indiscretion to the sound of bolting horses. Like jumping up and down to test the branches. Like a lesson with the title Second Chances. I couldn't keep up with the reports. I started lying. Anytime anyone asked me for comments, I said sure. I said sure, it is the duty of poets to know what year it is. But some days and some weeks we weren't certain. So I said sure, it is the duty of poets to be uncertain. Really only poetry discloses our condition. But this was ridiculous. So I said, sure, only comedy is perfect. I mean real comedy, the whole set falling down, accidents of any kind, real hurt, slipping into a river like a language being eaten by a bear. Is this the dereliction we were scared of? Some little speech about abrasion. How will you measure real pain? We used to meet people from the future. Now it's the future, and we can slow down decorum, drop the front and say whatever rhymes well enough. Well, sometimes I've been full of shit and I've continued tactile, all this and my heart. The question continues to be why. This part is called confession without a subject. Now you climb up on my back now and tell me what you see. These tests are literal. I'm failing you all. This is called narrative atoms. Asleep above the modem and the fields, perfect like that, but the fleeting pattern feels like you don't need the I do too. Blue sky, future textile, choose your poet. Confuse the air with exile lying down, surrounded by a crowd of tired tourists, clouds like ribs and a student of ethics declaring his love for the format. The only thing I really care about is the end of the 20th century, what it was I walked in on and who I have to see to get a refund. Hold my ticket. I came here to be quiet and be changed, corner of people all raising my heart. I stayed through ostrich hours, wrote production for protection, tried it out and gave away the measure in my speeches. But stay cool in your calcium deficit, rehearsing your perfect excuses. I need the name Daybreak on the table, shaped into effigy, mute and unsuitable, and the sky completely embarrassing. I pressed my face against the screen, and you did too, and those were moves that we would never have to recreate. Hazards beaten up, slow and slow clumsy, swaying in time to our inscrutable music. And you know, and you know, and you know, the voice contingent is a pulped thing, a jealous thing, all credit where credit is due. Stop thinking with your mouth full. I always hated show and tell. It's called home radio. But you tune the ghosts for everybody else. Roses on the table by the window, and even though the birds are quiet, it's Sunday and maybe you're quiet, listening out in a different landscape, different weather. We call this structure September, and I'll stay in this tempo as long as I have to. The roses are pink and the filament hums and the shadows in the room look good. Clean roses and ghosts on the radio. I should clean the room, but I won't. Work graying my hair at the temples, life too, the era of ghosts, the epoch, the classics, the poem. And someone is bouncing a ball, someone is stacking the dishes, someone is healthy and someone is sick, and a dog barks in the blue day, the kind you want for later fire to remember. I love it when the door is open and I can hear the world, the toothache light, the water out of reach. Speech is just a thing the dead do to remember what we said. You said the blossom is stronger than us. Years ago, tired and vivid spring. I know this song. I know this toothache. Love tends to the embers. I believe this all the time. And aren't you tired of everything folded into true and regular feelings, and the word for what I'm looking for, more edges serrated, less, it's okay, where's my gold neck brace, where's my gold peacock buried in the yard, and the boys with embroidered shovels shove it and the damp ground back. The joke is you're still here, using your real boots in hard decay, and I cover my name tag, go to sleep for 10 years. The great poem about suffering. The great poem about not suffering. Throw everything away. Keep everything. I'm going to read one more called Record Lows. Just going to drink some water as well. I'm going to narrate what I'm doing. We're all okay. Yeah, all right. This is called Record Lows. Just more of the same. But I'm so brittle now, ridiculous, an echo of a glowing line, a kind of paper throat, origami and tarmac at night in the voice, oblique and willed and watching it heap. A poem of grazes, a poem of gauze, with its own green forfeit in our judgment, quiet for how much life you want, floodlit and nothing but boxes. I mean this from my height drawn up, 5'10" and loose change, held together in contempt, from the inside self-corrosive, trapped by chain link syntax, and never soldered to the present by the shape we're avoiding in low-level continuous anger. I was disfigured, a solid model, two-dimensional dust, the loose ends tied together and flapping in the wind. And I had that sense now, that was it, that we were all dead now, inch by inch, could share this, my appetite for solid orange deformation, sometimes on fire in the communist language, means nothing emptied out, but the season to live with forever. But how can I do this? Keep going, keep gone, a working animal, nocturnal and hollow, can't forget what I know, trying for software's heavy technique. Too much voice-wise, singing backwards, too much panic, favorite rust, slate gray to come home on, voice over inconsistent and only as pious as the data allows. My information, my emotion, my metabolism. And at the largest scale, to never get what you want, a dream of jerks, bad poets, rich people with ugly children, Don Quixote, Sancho Panza, all the formal problems you know how to lose. But we know the laws of history, how it has to fold out, a kind of concrete origami like the dead and the days of the week. But you trip on velocity, get cheated out of poems in the pliable dark, part extensive with the landmass, my friends all mice-like and deranged, hunted by doves, bandaged by hawks, the turn inward unplanned and took us by surprise, counting damage and a clear, abrasive heart. Our friend, she spoke in tongues, was always speaking, trailing off, until the roof caved in, was always caving, all that sweet decay, sounds like someone humming something sweet, to someone you once knew, humming something sweet. Now I go to the park every day, I'm reduced. I go to work with maximum reluctance, I'm reduced. Shadows so soft, thought falling to the side, speaking solid defamation in my trouble voice troubled. Me, I could be poet of the night. All I have is my instinct to go on, a way of arranging the second best relics of the fading plastic arts, the brandished angles, the language of our compromise, more slow and more sickly than the punched-in recovery, the larger process of the tax-free annex and the shattered discount ice packs. It was the airborne things did the grounding, and now the air slides up in prime organic matter, Jurassic flora in my lungs, red dust on the pavement, the same old elegy, too small to live inside, a broken step of repetition, another celebrity granular deletion, empty offices like a badge of honor, and the street lined with bikes. I thought I was changing, and I thought I had changed, by the Australian embassy with its Ukrainian flags, an art of notation, outrun and outflanked, arranges nothing if you have to get to grips, real and generous homesick, endless summer crematorium, done in numbers, glowing lines, to sort your whole life out alone. But spring-wrecked sex depressed us, all that feeling serrated, night altogether platelet bright, writing odes to right wrongs, repetitious and prone, not in my eyes now, the satellite reel, bloodshot government bonds, and the triumph of life get stuck. I wanted to write poems of such graphic simplicity, small songs left you for dead. No one taught me to do this. It was either at my shoulder or ahead. It was always escape, always luck. I didn't even do it on my own. It has nothing to do with art, or maybe all of it, all night, sweating out sugar and method, in a clearing in the modernist forest where I woke up 35, snow trying to speak, and it told me meek hurt, cold economy braided placement to get the catch flown back and speak to all of you all at once in a well-lit, featureless room as the future unthinking starts curving away. And I got hungry near the end, and I was going somewhere total, the breeze on my face, sun on my cheek, on my jaw. Thank you.